and gentlemen, we ask that you please take your seats at this time as the program will begin momentarily.
As with many things in life, scientific publishing also has its pecking order. With that, I mean what type of publication has more standing than others and why. In this video, I will try and make sense of this all, so you can choose what type of publication you want to use to disseminate your work. In many fields, journal publications, ideally in prestigious journals, are the gold standard, but there are also fields where monographs, books and chapters in books are the norm. It's worthwhile to investigate what the publication culture in the fields you are active in are by looking at the top researchers in those fields and how they publish. My view on what is a suitable way to publish your research is, what do you want to achieve with your publication? What audience do you want to attract to your publication and what outlet best suits that? How easy will it be to find your work once it has been published? Another thing to take into account is the value researchers put on the chosen publication outlet. This value is often associated with the quality of a conference, journal or publisher and the associated peer review process they have in place to ensure this quality is maintained. Before we start, let me briefly explain peer review. Peer review in scientific publishing has been defined by Kelly and others as a process of subjecting an author's scholarly work, research or ideas to the scrutiny of others who are experts in the same field. Simply put, the general view in science is that the higher the scrutiny, the better quality publication outlet one gets. There are, however, also critical counterviews on this, and note that any system is always as good as the people that work within the system and that no one is infallible. Let me start at the bottom of the publication food chain and work my way up. The least read, least cited and often the least peer-reviewed scientific publications are internal technical reports, bachelor and master's theses. This does not necessarily mean that they are of poor quality, but there is much less objective scrutiny in the form of peer review. In the past, these were not easy to find, but with the increasing transparency in research, many institutions now make these available through online repositories. Please realize that especially bachelor and master's theses are proof of learning, not a proof of scientific perfection, and that internal publications often serve the purpose of internal knowledge retention. The next step up are external technical reports and PhD theses. These usually have undergone some form of quality control. Again, keep in mind that these publications also have a different purpose, namely accountability towards external parties or a proof of competence to be awarded a PhD. The next step up are conferences. Now this can be a minefield, as there are conferences for whom offering you an opportunity to present your work is purely a profitable business model. This type of conferences can be recognized by a lack of peer review process and a lack of backing by a reputable scientific body or organization. Frankly, as exotic as the locations can be, these are not worth the effort. For me, a good conference is organized by a reputable scientific body such as IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. A second criteria for me is the level of peer review of your contribution. How much scrutiny is given to what is allowed to be presented? Ask, for instance, what the rejection rate of abstracts and papers are. And finally, whether the proceedings are indexed by a publisher, so they are searchable in Scopwords afterwards. This way, your conference paper can be found. Certain conferences also have a special issue journal edition associated with the conference, allowing for your work to be published as a journal article afterwards. If you are setting out on a research career, I am in favor of presenting your work as a conference paper first at an appropriate conference. You get a good feel of how your work relates with respect to your peers and you get good feedback and you can build a network in your field. After the conference, you can update and extend your conference article and also submit it to a journal. For me, conferences offered me a really good way to get started in my field. The gold standard in scientific publishing are peer-reviewed journals. However, with the advent of online publishing and open access publishing, these waters have also become muddled. There are now also journals whose peer review processes are insufficiently rigorous and are willing to publish articles with little to no scrutiny, providing you are willing to pay their publication fee. Therefore, do check with colleagues or your institute's library which journals are reputable and suitable for publishing your work. Another indication is the rejection rate of a journal. The lower the rejection rate, the likelier it is that the scrutiny is not very high. Now you may ask, what about books? Again, this depends. Anyone can apply for an ISBN number and publish a book, especially with the online possibilities of today. As a beginning researcher, I would probably not go in that direction, unless that is a tradition in your field. If you are asked to contribute a chapter towards a book, always ask who the other contributors are, who the editor is, and what editorial processes are in place. This will help you make an informed decision. What counts is that you publish a transparent publication with scientific integrity. Remember, it's much easier to lose a good reputation than to build a good one.